Greetings, Jelly Spoons! Welcome back to another Monday Madness. Madness. I'm going over here now. This chair is wobbly. This chair spins? We'll deal with it. Woohoo! This video is going to be about some of the best experiences I have ever had playing Dungeons & Dragons. So before we start, chuck any of your favourite experiences of D&D down in the comments below. As a player, as a DM, whatever, watching a game and interacting with a game, any amount of that, any ideas you've currently got, characters you're currently playing, old characters, old campaigns, any of that, chuck them down in the comments below. I absolutely love to hear people's stories. I will try to read and respond to every single one of them. Tell me all the things. Paddle myself back. Okay. As you may be able to tell, I am luxuriating in the set that I have recently made myself. No spoilers for the end of Critical Role, but I have a brand new character that I am cosplaying, and I have a brand new character, the same brand new character, who I am doing commission videos for, and I am blown away by the amount of people who, literally at the second I posted that I was doing commissions of this character, jumped on it. Thank you very much. Your commissions will be with you very soon, or if you did them last week, you'll have them now. And anyone who would like one, head over to my Ko-fi. I am going to do my usual, because I'm told that is the way the professionals do it, and as always, we are pretending to be professional on this channel. So, if you would like a personalised message, you can commission me on my Ko-fi page. I do personalised messages from Peter Pan, if you would like this. I do a lot of kids' birthday parties, so if you'd like a personalised message from the Neverland, straight from Peter Pan himself, Mollymauk if giving you some circusy, happy vibes and positive energy. You can commission the Lucien Nonagon video as well. They tend to be of a more sarcastic nature, but you can commission whatever you would like. Just the ones I happen to have had so far have been very sarcastic. I also have my brand new Critical Role commission character. If you have not seen the finale, I will not put spoilers in this video. All I will say is if you can take everything that I am currently wearing and my backdrop into account, that is the character I'm currently doing. So if you would like pirate messages from the high seas, then hit me up. And finally, I also have personalised Shakespearean soliloquies composed by myself. Quality not guaranteed. If you would like one of those, I do Puck from A Midsummer Night's Dream. You can also request other characters. If they are in my wheelhouse, then I will do them. So my Ko-fi commissions are back open again. They were closed for a hot minute while I filmed the ones from last week, but they are open again now. So if anyone would like to jump on those, feel free to grab them. Personalised messages for you, for somebody else as a gift. That is my pretending to be a professional plugging over. Video time! Woohoo! So I am going to be telling you about my 10 best experiences playing Dungeons & Dragons. Very minor content warning for this first one, right off the bat. This involves player character death. It was dealt with fine. Everyone in the situation was happy. It is a happy, positive experience. But yeah, if you don't want to listen to this, then maybe skip ahead to when I say number 2. So I was DMing a campaign and a player character died. This was actually a case of the character's actions and this was their consequence. An evil deity who was sort of trapped in a mortal body. And there's a whole big backstory to that, but essentially they ended up releasing this deity sort of unwittingly. And this player who had had this voice in their head for a really long time, since a young age, and it was basically the only friend they'd ever known, they had tricked them into working and aligning themselves with this evil person. And they had said to me, oh, my character might have a reforming moment, they might change their mind, they might go, it will depend on how the RP goes at the time. And I'd said, yep, absolutely, no problem. If you want to reform them, no problem. But if you do continue down this path, there is a strong likelihood that your character may die as a consequence of aligning themselves with this deity. And they had said, yep, absolutely, I'm okay with this. Now, this is a veteran. All my D&D players are like veteran LARPers, so we're all very good at the improv, quick, doing all of that stuff. So I had no qualms, no issues. I expected them to all be absolutely amazing, and they were. And so one particular player, it was the last session of the campaign. It was the finale, it was the final act. And this character had a huge decision to make. Most of their life, they had been lonely as a child, they had been bullied, they'd been neglected, they had pushed their family away for various different reasons. And this deity had called to them and singled them out, taking them away and sort of become their only friend and giving them these powers. It was like a warlock patron kind of thing. And eventually the character said, no, I'm staying with them. And despite all their friends' pleas and everything, no, they sided with the deity and they ended up dying alongside her. One thing that the player said to me was that their character really regretted the way things ended with their family, because the family was now all dead, and they really wished that they had got to speak to their family and maybe resolve things, because they missed them and they regretted the way that things had left, and they really wanted forgiveness from their family. And I thought about everything that had happened, and I thought about my family quite a lot actually, and I wrote that they went on and they moved on and they go through this white light and they go through a sort of grey fog, and eventually they are stepping out into a familiar place, and they saw their family and they saw their mum and their dad, and I think they had siblings and things, and the mum just said, it's okay, we understand, and they forgave them sort of in this afterlife scene. And it was very quiet and very calm. I got more emotional than I thought I would, considering that I knew it was potentially coming and the player got very emotional and the rest of the players did, and it was very sweet, and I enjoyed that moment, not because I'm like sadistic and I enjoy making people cry. It was more that the fact that my players cared enough to be affected by that really got me, and I was very glad that I could have been a part of that. Number 2 plays off the same scenario. This is the same campaign, and my second favourite moment playing D&D is actually finishing a campaign, but not just that, finishing a homebrew campaign that I had written completely myself. I went about my first full D&D campaign as a DM completely wrong. I ticked almost every single box that veteran DMs tell you not to do. I did not go off the original source books. I allowed so much homebrew when players were creating their characters. I made up everything. I created the entire world. I created every single city down to each tavern's name and who was running them. A lot of them were based on characters from TV shows, but it was still all, there. I had endless lists of just NPCs and people. I had people wandering the world who they would meet at random points. And not only that, but I had 2 separate groups because we had so many players who wanted to play and no one who was willing to DM because no one had done it before, and I had done it like a little bit, so I was like, yeah, screw it, why not, I'll DM for you both. So we had 2 sessions every week with a different group, and somehow I managed to coordinate one group existing 2 weeks ahead of the other group in this world. So whatever the first group did actively affected the second group's story. So effectively the second group went around clearing up after the first group. The first group had the player in it that I mentioned in my first story, and they were aligned with some very interesting people, shall we say. So they were going around and all these different things were affecting them, and they were veering off and making all these decisions that were putting in place loads of catalysts out there in the world. And essentially the second group, I didn't have to write very much for them because they essentially had their story written. They were just going around and they were dealing with the after effects of everything that happened with group 1. And they were amazing. They were just so funny. And they were all just so quick-witted and happy to be doing all of this. And the first group was so intense and RP heavy, the whole lot. They were great. They were an absolute joy. I love every single one of them. Amazing, an amazing ride. I highly recommend it. If you have the time and the energy, homebrew a campaign. It's absolutely amazing. It's so fulfilling. You create this world and you just give it to your players and see what they do with it. It's absolutely amazing. So yeah, that was fantastic. The third one is the last one I'm going to talk about as a DM. The rest of them are my experiences as a player. And this one is just very briefly the first time me and this D&D group got to play in person. This again is the homebrew campaign that I did end up managing to finish with everybody. We played online exclusively for years. We all met at LARP events, so we knew each other in person. We had people playing from all over the world. We had some of our players from America, some from Europe. It was mad. All over the UK, we very rarely actually met in person, except for at these LARP events. And most of us, except I think one player who did manage to video call, were going to this one LARP event where we all met. And it was about 2 years into the campaign, and it was very close to the end. And we all met up and we had an at the table game. We came one night early for the LARP. We all brought snacks and drinks and we sat around and we played this one shot of the D&D game as our characters, but we all played all together. There was about 10 of them. They are fantastic LARPers, fantastic D&D players, and yeah, just getting to sit around a table with them all and sort of watch it happen. It's great online, and I'll always be grateful that we managed to keep playing, but there's nothing like an in-person game as well. It's just magic. Number 4, this is about my current D&D character. I love him to pieces. Oh, he's amazing. His name is Kuri Musta. He is a 4'5", really short, drow pirate. He is so much fun. I love him so much. I think in elf years he's about 100, 110, I'm not sure, but he is the human equivalent of just turning 18, so he is a proper little scamp. And I will be mentioning him and that game later on again as well, but one of my absolute favourite moments with this character in particular was the first time I, as a player playing Kuri, met Kuri's dad. So he, in-game, had met his dad, grew up with his dad, had a very good relationship with his dad, but hadn't seen him for a few years because he'd been off travelling and missed him a great deal. And his dad rolled up in-game and I was not expecting it, and Kuri was not expecting it, and I, as a player, got to interact as Kuri with his father for the first time. Kuri essentially just turned into a child whenever he sees his dad. I mean, he is basically a child, but he goes from 18, roughly adult, quite suave and likes to flirt with people. He sees his father and he turns into sort of this excitable 6-year-old at Disney World. And yeah, he saw his dad's ship, recognized it, and like swam out to go, like, he couldn't even wait for it to get to port. He like probably swam out to go meet the boat. He dived off the pier and just swam out, and he got hauled up on the rope, and his dad was at the wheel, and he just sort of like went tearing up to his dad, and he was like, "Dad!" And he gave him a massive running hug, and sort of jumped up, because he's quite short. Kuri's short, bless him, and his dad's quite tall, so he basically managed to pick him up. He's like a perpetual child to his dad, because Kuri has not grown. Since he hit 4'5", that's it. Kuri has not grown, so his dad just picked him up. And his dad is basically Blackbeard, and he just gives him a big hug, and they had banter. And just, yeah, I love Kuri's dad. Anytime he shows up in the game, I love him. Kuri loves him a great deal and just really wants his dad to be proud of him. And yeah, the first time I got to interact with him as a character, that was fantastic. It just reaffirmed my belief that, yes, this is a good game. I like this. Okay, the fifth one I'm going to talk about was a crazy moment from a Monster of the Week campaign that I was in. And the character I played in this Monster of the Week game was, oh, so obnoxious. Essentially a combination of Bender from The Breakfast Club and Jess from Gilmore Girls, but like early seasons Jess, not grown up Jess. And he was a time. We did one particular session that involved a particular NPC who, my character Jimmy, named after Saint Jimmy from the Green Day song. So Jimmy decided really dumbly to steal something, just a little trinket, from this old woman who had helped them, and she was cranky and had magic, and through a series of unfortunate circumstances he had to leave his car at her house, and there was a lot of talk in character and out of character about, she is going to do something to your car, she is going to have done something to my car. It was like a trashed, beat up car anyway, but he was living in it. It was like the only thing he had left, because he had left his parents' house and it was a whole, his parents were trash, absolute trash. It was so great. It was so funny. Everyone else had really amazing parents, and he was really jealous of them, and he got really annoyed about it. I rolled a medium check to see if the car was okay. He got in, shut the door, turned the engine on, and then poof, this huge sigil, this magic sigil on the roof just opened up and went poof. It was engulfed. The whole car, the whole inside of this car was just gone poof, like confetti cannon engulfed, and it was this bright blue mist that then faded, and it was left with this rich, horrible, sickly sweet smell of bubblegum, and it was all over him. It was all over him and his clothes and the car, and even when he washed, he couldn't get it off. He smelled of bubblegum, and this magical thing, it would just not go away. So him and his car stank of bubblegum, and it was so hilarious because they had to go to this formal dinner, and he, being the stubborn little asshole that he was, hadn't quite realized that if he went and apologized to the woman for stealing and maybe gave the trinket back, she might take this sort of curse off him. But he hadn't realized that, so they had to go to a formal dinner all dressed up in fancy clothes, and he stank of bubblegum, and it was absolutely hilarious. Number 6 is from the same Monster of the Week campaign, same character, Jimmy. He was a rascal, and it is just in general the RP we had in that game. It was so on point. We spent a good deal of sessions just talking in character to NPCs, to each other, talking things out, having moments, banter. It was just so free flowing and easy, and I really enjoyed that. It was an absolute joy to be a part of that. That was great. And it was DM'd by my wonderful friend Bro, who I will mention in this video. Bro, you're amazing. Bro's an amazing DM. I love them so much. And Kat was in it as well. My wonderful friend Kat was in that. My wonderful friend Leah, my other wonderful friend Jay. You probably know them all. I will put links to their social things down there. They're all amazing cosplayers. Go follow them all. So yeah, Bro, Kat, I love you. And Leah and Jay, I love you too. If you watch this, you probably won't. But if they do watch this, I love them as well. Number 7. Now, this is harkening back to a character I did a series of videos on. I'll put a link up here. This is Moxi Brethren, my 3 guesses. Pirate, obviously. Pirate tiefling though, so he's totally different. He was also a paladin, so pirate wasn't actually his class. He was a paladin. Pirate was his background. One of my favourite moments with Moxi was fairly early on in the campaign, and it was when Moxi met his mother. And the thing that I really enjoyed about his mom was the difference between in-character and out-of-character knowledge. It was great fun to play off because I really enjoy being able to sort of lose yourself in the character, and any out-of-character knowledge you have, if it plays a part, it just means that you play it better. I knew as a player that this devil could not be trusted. Mox's mother, she was probably using him, and if he agreed to work with her and Asmodeus, then bad things would happen and that would not be good. And he's buying it. I said, I as a player, I'm making this decision. He is believing her. He's lost his father. She's the only family he has left. She's showing him scraps of affection. He believes her. And that was very fun to play because Moxi was making terrible decisions, but they worked. And in terms of the story that he got to go on and the arc he got to go on, they were amazing to play off of. And he changed. And when he realised that she was not who he thought she was and that she had been lying to him, and when she was cruel to him, again, go watch the videos if you want to see the whole story. But when he realised that, it was a really big wake-up call to him in character, and some really big changes happened to him after that, and he started to reassess a lot of things. So that was really fun to play. The hat is getting jauntier as we get towards number 10. This one is number 9, and again, it's about Moxi. Again, go watch the video series I did if you want to see Moxi's whole story sort of in detail, but in brief, my second favourite moment with Moxi was when Sebastian turned up. Spoiler alert for anyone who hasn't watched that video series, but in brief, Sebastian, who is a very, very important character from Moxi's past, showed up, and it was at almost the worst possible time. It was bittersweet, and it was heartbreaking, and it was very fleeting and very quick, but it set in motion a lot of other things and ended up being the thing that Moxi based a lot of his decisions on later down the road. If you want to go and watch my full video series I did about Moxi's story, then I'll put the link below as well, so go check that out if you're interested. It's yeah, I tell his whole story. It was a fun time. I enjoy Moxi very much. He was a great character. Number 10, and the hat is so jaunty it's nearly falling off, so I'm just going to correct that. There we go. Number 10 is once again about Kuri, my current D&D character, and Kuri is a constant joy to me. I don't know if he's a joy to everybody else around him, but he is a constant joy. I would just throw you a succession of moments. Basically, all of the RP that I have in my current D&D group that I'm a player in is fantastic. We have an RP chat channel for when we're not playing. We find out a lot about the characters that you don't always get to do in sessions, and we find out all this stuff, and it's great. And I like to write my characters and then add to them and add more things to their story as we play through. And as we were playing through was when I realised and decided that Kuri had never been taught to read and write. And that has been a constant source of strife, particularly because one party member at the moment has no tongue and is communicating by writing things down and occasionally sending message spells. And so sometimes they will write something down and hand it to Kuri, and he'll just be like, I don't know when I decided this, but Kuri does not believe cows exist. Kuri thinks cows are like a mythical creature the way that humans nowadays might think of dragons. Kuri thinks that they're just this invented concept. He doesn't believe in cows. He grew up at sea with his dad, who was more interested in teaching him how to defend himself and fight and run a ship than he was teaching him like literally how the world works kind of thing. So Kuri, for whatever reason, it came out in RP that Kuri just didn't believe in cows, and they were at sea at the time and they were like, no, as soon as we get on land, we're going to show you a cow. And then Kuri has yet to meet a cow, and I'm not sure how he would react if he did. Something else that started off being funny but has ended up being quite sad for him recently is that they are essentially landlocked right now. A lot of the campaign is taking place quite deep inland. So number one, nobody knows who he is. He doesn't get to play the whole I have wanted posters card anymore because no one knows who he is. No one knows his reputation. It's very sad for him. And he misses the sea very much as well. And he still finds it quite difficult to walk on land. He gets quite cute sometimes. Sometimes it's adorable. He has to sleep in a hammock curled up because he can't sleep on a bed because it doesn't move. It's very sweet. And sometimes he's just a complete idiot. Kuri has moments where he'll just come out with something that makes perfect sense to him and not to anybody else. And sometimes it's played for complete laughs and sometimes it's just, aw. Like he got his first kill when he was a child. He was about, I think, 13. They were fighting another ship and they had taken over this other ship and they had won, and his father allowed him and gave him the kill on the captain. And it was a great honour for Kuri. I wrote that into his story. It was a great honour that he was the captain's son. His father was the captain of their ship and he got to have the finishing blow on the captain of the ship that they had fought. To Kuri, that's a very stoic moment of, yeah, and then we drank that night and then I got a tattoo from my dad and stuff, and that's a very big moment for him. Whereas to other people hearing about this sort of 13-year-old boy, it's not always good and it's terrifying. And so a lot of the aspects of his life that he just takes for granted as being, yeah, that's normal, a lot of other people do not. Some of the characters that are in the campaign have very, very sad stories, and some of them have very angsty backstories and very horrible things that have happened to them throughout their life, and Kuri is the complete opposite. He had the happiest childhood ever. He wanted for nothing. He grew up a complete pirate scallywag on his dad's ship, and his dad was the captain and he just got trained up to be a pirate, and that's all he knew and he loved it. And he got older and his dad said, right, you should probably go off and do some adventures of your own, but you know, you can always come back. And if his dad ever called him back to the crew, Kuri would always go back. And he's ended up in with this group of adventurers having adventures, and he's loving it and learning quite a lot. The sort of culture clash of grew up on a pirate ship versus grew up with a basic level of education, that's often difficult. And I hope the other players enjoy that as much as I do, because that's great fun. So yeah, Kuri. Just Kuri in general. That is one of my favourite D&D moments ever as a player. Just playing Kuri. That will end this video. It'll probably be a short one this week, partly because last week's I have given up trying to keep up on the comments on that one. So if I didn't get to your comment, I apologise. I had to turn off the notifications for it because my phone and my laptop were just going bing, 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 bing all the time. I've been trying to read as many as I possibly can and at least like some of them if I don't have time to completely respond. And to those of you who watched my last video and shared stories of your D&D campaigns, oh, hell yes. So if you want to chuck anything down in the comments about your D&D characters, your D&D experiences, as a DM, as a player, as an NPC, as a guest, anything you like, yeah, chuck information down in the comments. I love reading about it, and I highly doubt this video will get as much traction as my previous video, so I'll probably be able to read all of the comments and I will endeavour to respond to all of them, because anyone who takes the time to comment on my videos, thank you, I absolutely love you, it's amazing, I love hearing your stories, thank you for sharing them. I'm going to go and I'm going to do some more bits for my Molly. I am having a very chill month this month because I have a lot of work, so I for my cosplay of the month this month, I am just sort of adding more details to what I've currently got for Molly. I have done my new character, so technically I do have a cosplay for this month, I didn't make most of it came from previous cosplays that I threw together. So this month's cosplay, I am going to attempt to make some new Molly horns. That's what I'm going to be doing next week in my like 2 days off, and I am also adding bits to my Molly coat as well. So at the end of the month I will have a vlog on all of that for you. It won't be as big as all of my other cosplays, but it's in a campaign 2. I really fancy doing something to do with campaign 2, and yeah, I haven't finished my Molly coat yet. It's an ongoing project. It's my 4th Molly coat, so I'm taking my sweet time. I will see you all soon. Thank you for watching Jelly Spoons. Goodbye! I love spinning chairs. We should all exist on these all the time. I fiddle-dee-dee, you are a virus. Alright, I'm off again. My neighbours must have gone drunk.